Here we are, season 2, episode 6 of the Punk Rock Drummers podcast, where we will talk with someone who is in a punk band, or is inspired by the music. Today's guest is my friend Joshua Breslow, Breslow Drum Company.
Man, great pick. It was good to have someone who's a drummer, but also, well, I would say most of these guys are creatives, but man, he really took it to the next level.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to get too far into it because you'll hear all of us, Joshua and I
Right.
talking about it. But I've known him for a while now. We've worked on a couple things together, and he's a very creative dude. Really interesting, and I loved hearing about his history in like the early New York hardcore and punk scene. I don't know, he was kicking around in a very good time for music back then. So
Yeah, I pulled up his website again so I could kind of refresh my memory on some of those drum kits that he's made, and still just blows my mind how he has the patience to do some of this stuff because
yep.
some of it is insanely intricate. And I feel like I would lose my mind after
Yes.
a couple hours.
So those of you who don't know, Joshua, he kind of essentially rehabs and decorates and just does really cool stuff. He's got a kit that's just finished in rulers. He's got one finished in bottle caps, and he'll do anything you want. But he's also a rad dude, and if you can message him on Instagram or email him, he'll tell you how to do it yourself as well, which I think is fucking rad.
Yeah, breslowdrumco.com is the website. You can see all those drums that he's made. Amazing. Lots of
Beautiful,
photos
beautiful
too.
stuff.
Yeah.
This is definitely an episode that if you have the means to, I would maybe suggest watching on YouTube. Because we didn't take that into consider. Well, I didn't take that into consideration ahead of time. That we're talking about all these drums during the episode, and if you're just listening, you won't be able to see them. So
Yeah. Well, and he did have some drums handy. He did pick some up and show, So I'll try to see if I can get some photos stuck in there too while he's talking.
cool.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
yeah, how you been?
I'm good, man. Hanging out. I guess we should mention our sponsor.
We should. Yes. SJC Drums. So happy to have them. Amazing. They extremely supportive, and it was good to hear from them. They're working on getting us some more drummers.
Yes. Yeah, got a
Yeah.
quite a roster. There's someone upcoming who I'm pretty psyched about, but I don't want to jinx
Yeah.
anything, so I'm not gonna say names.
Yep.
But it should be cool, man.
They seem to know some drummers.
Mm-hmm.
They know a
Yeah,
few.
you'd think, right? It's crazy. And then we'll shout out Rhino with sleeve washers. Buy some sleeve washers.
Oh, of course. Always. Yeah.
Put them on your
So,
drums.
yeah, we've been a little delayed. I went to Canada and played Music for Cancer with my band Fire Cell. That was cool. Got to play right before Pennywise, which was nerve-wracking because everybody was there at that time. Last year we played super early, so it was kind of like a third of that crowd was there to see us. But yeah, so traveling and so it put us behind a little bit. So it's good to get another episode out.
Yeah, I also had stuff that I it was yeah.
You had diarrhea.
Yes, cha cha cha. Um, anyways, dude. So we were thinking it would be cool if anyone is unsigned or just has a band that they, well, at least that you have the rights to the music to. If you want to email us, it's punkrockdrummers@gmail.com. We would love to start doing just featuring bands in the outro and trying to like give back a little bit and maybe get some people, the bands out there who, might not have a ton of exposure otherwise. Definitely want to keep it roots and help the scene while we're doing this as well. So again, that's punkrockdrummers@gmail.com, and send a picture to privates to Matt.
Yeah.
Along with definitely don't do that.
Like I need
Don't
any
do that.
more of that. No, we'll play you. We'll play your band.
Yes, that sounds better.
Yeah.
Better idea for sure. But yeah, man, I guess that's it. Let's roll into this episode with Joshua Breslow.
Yeah, man. Let's do it.
Yeah, buddy. We got audio?
Think so.
Good morning.
Matt, nice to meet you, Matt. I'm Joshua.
Nice to meet you too, Joshua.
There we go. Now we can hear you.
Cool.
How are you this lovely morning, sir?
Good, man. This is like this and cleaning out my daughter's shitty car are my two goals for today.
Well, we're gonna make this more annoying if we can. So
Yeah, man. Go for it.
let me it's my channel here. All right, dude. So here we are, another episode. Today we have Joshua Breslow Drums, is a drum company.
Thanks for having me, guys. I appreciate it.
Thank you for being on.
Yeah, thanks for
Um,
joining us.
this is going to be a cool episode. It's going to be a little bit different than what we usually do, and I'm really looking forward to it. We see we got some stuff in the background there. So, yeah, man, I don't know if we should just start more with like just your entry into drumming, just in general.
Yeah, sure, sure. So, I grew up in New York City in the Bronx. Kind of went through my teenage years in mid to late 80s. So in New York at that time was just exploding with all of these incredible scenes. So we had like the birth of hip hop, um, the punk and hardcore scene that was just thriving. In the art world, we had pop art. And then a little bit after that was like new wave. So like as a kid, 13, 14, 15, I would, go to these places and go to CBGBs and I never went in, but I'd go outside and just watch, the whole scene and just learn from it. Me and my friends, like 13, 14, just stand across the street and observe all this stuff. And it was incredible. Seeing Keith Haring's artwork all over New York City really
That's so
inspired.
cool.
Yeah, so I think at 16, um, I was in Times Square and they had a live drummer, just, somebody just trying to make some money, not a bucket drummer, but like a real kit. And I think that was the first time I ever heard like live drums. And I could watch like really closely, and I immediately was hooked and um, asked my parents if I could get a drum set, which was just never going to happen because we lived in a two-bedroom apartment in the Bronx on the second floor with neighbors everywhere. So um, that was never going to happen. So I kind of put my drum dream on hold until I turned 20 and moved out to the Midwest. And once I was on my own, I bought a drum set and immediately just sort of figured it out. Took a few formal lessons, but I had been thinking about it for like 4 years in my mind. So once I got a hold of it, it didn't take too long. I think within 2 or 3 weeks, I was already in um, a band.
Oh, really?
Wow.
That's amazing. Well, yeah, I think it's a bit of a later start, but it seems like you've already kind of were a drummer for a few years in your head before this. So were you tapping around on?
Yeah, I was definitely tapping around. I was definitely also just emerged in as much as I could learn on paper and through hearing because I couldn't really play and I didn't really know much about like the mechanics of the drums at all until I bought a set myself. Um, and once I bought a set myself, it just sort of clicked in. It was just like a big toy.
Yeah, it's very similar to my story too, because I think since third grade, I knew I wanted to play drums, and then I didn't get a drum kit till I was 14. So whenever I did get a drum kit, I pretty much knew what to do already, just tapping around like you did.
Yeah, for sure. It's definitely for some people it's a real instinctual primal kind of urge. So yeah, once I started, I've never stopped. So that's been 30 years of playing.
Yeah.
Like, what was the first band you're in? Like, what kind of style of music?
Yeah, it was sort of like that pop punk indie style, that was going on. When I started with playing in bands, I had moved from New York to the Midwest in Wisconsin, and that was the first time I got to see like a basement show or like anything like that at all because New York was just they just didn't have that kind of scene. So I learned quickly, like, wow, this is a great scene, super accepting of our music. We had a female singer. Um, and we did that for a few years and that was great. And then I sort of evolved into rock and roll and eventually sort of Americana folk music for the last few years. And then recently I'm in like a New Orleans influenced blues and soul group right now.
Dick.
So
About
yeah,
what year was this when you joined your first band?
first band I think was 98 or 99.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I just wanted to kind of get a picture of like the time, like
Yeah,
maybe what was popular or what maybe you were listening to, what was around coming out
yeah,
at
it
that
was
time.
Smashing Pumpkins, and I always loved Fugazi. Um, the Cro-Mags were cool.
Mhm.
Some heavy stuff, and then some stuff like Pink Floyd and some hippie kind of stuff. Also, so
Yeah, so you're into a lot of different styles.
Don't talk about the hippie stuff. It's a punk rock podcast.
yeah, no,
I'm just
yeah,
joking.
no hippies here, man.
No, I'm just fucking with you. I gotta ask, dude, what was the name of the band?
The first band was
Yeah.
called Super Breakout.
What was it?
Super Breakout.
Nice.
Super
Any
breakout.
recordings?
It was like a video game,
Oh,
right?
Wow, dude.
It's like an Atari game.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we recorded an album. I have it on tape. That's how old it is.
I gotta look up that game.
Oh
Any
yeah.
any streaming for that stuff, or
I don't think so. I don't think so.
you think you'd ever try to get it up there, or just let it be a memory?
I think it's just a memory.
There's some of that stuff, yeah.
Yeah, it almost sounds like somebody else is playing, but I mean, I've always been into a lot of different genres of music, and I definitely try to understand them. So, if I work with like a singer-songwriter, I'll have like the appropriate kind of approach. So I'm not really, locked into one style per se. I try to be versed on a bunch of stuff. I did play in a reggae band for a while, and that was fun. So, a little of everything.
It's always cool to join different types of bands and play with different people, different speeds, different different flavors. That's what I always did. I never said no to anything, you know, and
Yeah.
I think it kind of shaped me. Well, and it put me in some really cool opportunities too. You never know who you're gonna meet.
I agree 1,000%. I say yes to almost everything.
Hmm.
And yeah, it works, drums, just like you guys, and probably tons of people that are listening are just interwoven in my life. I live in like a drum museum, basically, and I collect vintage. I collect MIJ. I love MIJ stuff. Excuse me. So I just have a huge amount of drums and cymbals, and it never gets old. Never gets old.
Wild. But yeah, I mean, I think there's a big value. Oh, he's gone.
Sorry.
And we're out. No, you're good. I just yeah, the value of playing and learning different styles of music. I mean, I didn't really get into that until probably 10 years ago, but how much from reggae that you can apply to punk and how much, punk goes into funk and, all the fills and stuff like that. So I think it definitely makes you a better drummer, just to try to learn some other stuff.
Yeah,
So
for
that's
sure. The punk scene that I saw early on and then later in the Midwest, it definitely influenced that do-it-yourself kind of attitude.
Mhm.
Mismatchy drums, like nothing had to really look flashy or great. And it wasn't really about gear. It was like energy and speed. Um, and once I got to know some of those drummers, they really weren't like incredibly technical, but they were like incredible athletes. They
Mm.
just they just wailed and brought like this whole energy. And seeing people like outside at a merch booth just handing out tapes or CDs or business cards, that whole scene really did it for me. A few years ago I also got into some areas of punk that are interesting are like punk shui. So punk shui is a design style basically that thrives on energy, chaos, and expression. And it's a whole movement. There's a book out there. I think it's Steve Daikin's book, Design for Anarchists. So if you're into
Check it
that,
out.
check it out.
I
But
could throw a graphic up.
I'm such an anarchist that I don't read, just really, really trying to give it to the system. So
Right.
that's crazy, man. That sounds
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. That whole idea of just also a little bit of attracted a lot of cool misfit type of people that were really interesting. So I think I definitely adopted that. And when I started my company, um, that sort of idea of like promoting it like on the ground, being really visible and really trying to have this like genuine energy, but in a really sort of accessible, cool, calm way.
Yeah, that's crazy. Well, Matt, did you have a follow-up? Sorry.
Oh, no, no, no.
Sometimes I get with my little mental condition that I have. I sometimes rapid
I
fire
have it too.
questions. So
Yeah, so this
I'm trying to give Matt a little room to ask questions
yeah, this is
before we go too
Christian.
far
He
or
gets
on to the next
excited.
thing.
Yeah, he gets
I
really
mean,
excited. And then
yeah,
he's
that's
like,
why the
ah.
camera angle's not, it's waist up. Just sorry. Anyways, so I don't know, man. I don't know if it's jumping like too far ahead, but you know, did a lot of that visual stuff from the early days kind of have to do with where you're at now, and what sort of I guess we'll start with like what was the first thing that you're like, I got to do something to this, I got to change it.
Yeah, the first thing, just, the mother of invention, just is necessity, right?
Mhm.
So I was doing a show, like a coffee shop show with like singer-songwriter folk band kind of thing. And the people, there was no stage. The people were like literally 5 feet from me, and we're all on the same ground. And a lot of them are kids and coffee drinkers and families. So I put together this really small, converted 16 by 16 kick drum, and I just kind of built like a little trap kit out of just like black random drums that I bought at Music Around. And our guitar player, who's Dan Krill, who's a fantastic musician and a great friend of mine, turns to me and says, "Wow, man, just black? Like you're such a creative person. I'm surprised you don't have something more creative wrapped on the drums." That
Mhm.
burned a hole in my soul. I love Dan. I know you're gonna watch it. I love you, bro, but that hurt. And it was like, what am I doing? And I think it was literally the next day I, got out the box cutter and ripped the wrap off. And that was really the start of it. I ripped it off, and as soon as it was off, it was almost just like I was off this island and like in the atmosphere. Like the ideas were um, endless. So the first one I did, I wrapped in maps. So it was just very blue looking. And it was like a 5-piece drum set, all done in maps. And that was the first kit um, that I ever did. And I never really thought about like making this a company, or I just wanted to have a versatile kit that I could play with this band.
Is that on your website?
It is on my website. Yeah.
I've got
Yeah.
it pulled up over here. I'm looking at all your cool drums.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, so I guess from there, that band disbanded, and I was left just sort of, you know, without a band after like 6 years of really, recording 2 albums in a studio and tons of shows. It just ended really abruptly, which I did not like. And
Hmm.
I sort of vowed, I'm like, I'm going to start this company and I'm going to be in control of it, and it's going to represent me and my artistic fire, and I'm not going to let anybody put it out, and I'm not going to let anybody tell me, what to do or not do. And if I want to do commission work for people, I'll pick and choose the commission work. Like if it works for me and them, I'll give my 100% honest um, effort as much as I can. If it's an idea that doesn't work, for me, I'm not going to do it. But I think I was shocked by the band breaking up, and it just really lit a fire that I wanted more control.
And around what year was this?
This was COVID.
Oh, so it was 6 years
Yeah.
previous leading up to COVID. Oh,
I
so
think
it
I
the
think a lot of
Breslow's
us.
only been going for 5 years?
Yeah, it was
Oh,
five or
wow.
6 years
Wow.
before COVID, and then it broke when we broke up through COVID. Recorded two studio albums. The band was called the Watchbirds, and the music is out there.
Are
So
you serious, dude? That's you?
in the
I
Watchbirds,
Yeah, I've heard that before. That's funny.
yeah.
Yeah, I have some friends that are like really into the Americana folk stuff. Dude,
Okay.
that's wild. I had no idea that was. I mean, I'm not like I can pretend and sit here like I know your entire catalog, but that's
Oh,
wild.
sure.
No shit.
Yeah,
Well, that's got
yeah.
to make you feel good. I've heard of it before.
It does. Thanks. Yeah, yeah. It was a great band, and that's what hurt so much when it ended. Because I thrive on collaboration.
For
Yeah,
sure.
I hear you.
As do we. Yeah, I find it really cool that so many people their creative juices started flowing during COVID. Say it happened to me too. So many things that I'm doing now, I don't think would have happened. I don't think would have, anything would have driven me to do any of this if it I'm not saying it's a good thing. I'm just a lot of people were bored. They had nothing to do. And so a lot of good came out of it too.
Certainly, my most intricate, detailed work came out of COVID.
Hmm.
Um, I'm an art teacher, so at that time I was teaching middle school art, which I've done for 23 years. And schools were just, they were just virtual. So I was home all day for like the first time. And that's when I wrapped a kit in drumsticks. That's on my website. That was really challenging. So I collected drumsticks for like, 25 years of just having all different types, all different sticks also represented all the different avenues I've gone down in music, which I thought
Mm.
was interesting.
Yeah.
And I kind of just wove them all together and wrapped a whole drum set in those. And that took up a lot of time. So I know what you mean about COVID for sure.
Yeah.
Do you think you could pull something like that off now, or is that like a something like that intricate? Is that like a one and done thing? You probably learned a lot, but
They're all one and done. That's how I work. They're all one and done. No, I never or rarely revisit the same idea twice. I go from one to the next, to the next, to the next, which just creates like so many opportunities to learn and stumble. So each one I do, there's no roadmap. Like I'm working right now on license.
Oh, I love that.
There is no, at least I couldn't find any roadmap for this. There's not like a YouTube video or any dude that's like, well, here's how to do it. And that's how I know I'm on to like a fantastic idea when I'm
yeah.
sort of kind of inventing the process. So I collected vintage license plates for years until I had enough to do a whole kit. And they're all pretty vintage, and pretty textured. Like some of them are pretty old.
Dude, that's amazing.
I love the white detail on the hoops too.
Yeah, so this is some reflective like road tape that construction workers use. So it has like a really strong reflection. And then I also do a lot with painting the hardware. So like any little time I can match something, to the drum. So each one has like its own um, patterns as far as the screws and hardware.
That looks like a pearl. Is that a pearl?
This, I think it
Oh no, it
was a
looks like
mid.
Yamaha.
I'm not sure. It wasn't a Yamaha.
Oh no, no. I was
You
looking at the
know,
mount. Looks like
I
a
forget.
pearl. Looks like a pearl
It
mount.
might be a pearl. It might be a pearl.
Yeah.
Um,
Dude, that's
which is
amazing.
yeah, yeah, for sure. It's that's what I'm doing right now, and um, it's fun. It's challenging, and then when I'm done with it, I'll move on to do something completely different.
I'm curious about that particular drum. Those license plates are pretty stiff. So do you have to like heat them up and bend them? Is that how you kind of get them in that shape?
Yeah, that's a great question. They're not as heavy as you think.
Okay.
So I created like a template just using like that was a 10-inch old drum, and I'll clamp it like 20 times all the way around.
Mm,
So the license plate will like form on its own. I don't want to put any tension into it, so it wants to like
right.
rattle. I want it to sit on there like perfectly. So I'll just leave it like that for a few days. So the template's pretty skinny. It's the size of a license plate. I can just kind of bend it and then clamp, like 10 clamps on each side, and I'll leave it like that for about 3 days.
That's
And
wild.
then it makes it where it doesn't want to spring back up and cause you issues later on.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
well, not just me, like, this particular kit I'm making for somebody else.
Hmm.
So yeah, I don't want in the middle of a show. I don't want them coming up.
Ding.
Uh, yeah, that's
Yeah,
like the
yeah.
last right, right.
That's why. Well, I was thinking too. I mean, I think to someone like myself or Matt who doesn't do what you do, my first thought was, putting it in a crank and like rolling it, but the letters are raised up, so you just smush everything down
Mm.
flat. So the insight there shows, it shows your knowledge of what you're doing. Because I think a lot of us probably just would have ruined a few license plates before we figured that out for
And
sure.
I totally did. I mean, that's the process, like you learn way more from your mistakes than you do from your accomplishments.
For sure.
You remember them more too. That's for sure. I mean, I didn't just jump into this. I do have a fine art background. I have a bachelor's degree in painting and sculpture, and I have a master's degree in advanced metalworking. So I've been in art studios. Like I said, I've taught for 23 years. I've, um, made a living out of teaching, and creating. So I worked for a great design company for a few years too, where we fabricated furniture and lighting, and we built out incredible themed restaurants. So it's not like I'm just skilled person. I had to go through all that. All that led me to where I'm at right now.
Yeah, and you're certainly ahead of the curve, at least when it comes to making these custom drums, um, because of your background. That's probably why you're doing so much so quickly because you already had that knowledge. Even though you're still making mistakes, you're going to, but that certainly helped. That's great. So, do you paint some of the drums as well, or are they all kind of like the license plate? Uh,
Um, I have a few that I've painted the drum head,
uh-huh.
but usually, I'd say, 80% of what I do is some form of paper.
Okay.
So I collect paper. So I've also like have a lot of knowledge with varnishes and adhesives. So every time I'm going to do a project, like here's just a little matte drum.
Oh yeah. Wow.
I think it's like they're somewhere in Indonesia. So each paper is different. So each paper is going to take like its own adhesive. So I have a bunch of sprays. I have all kind of adhesives, and some of them make the paper react weird. So I'll have to I do a little test first just to make sure that, the paper isn't going to run or bleed or do anything weird. So I'll do a little
Right.
test to see what the paper's like. And then after I've done that, then I know I'm kind of ready to go. And then I'll try also a varnish.
Okay. And
So
that paper looks like an old map
it's an old map. Yeah. I know it's probably a little bit hard to see here.
for
Is
those
that
who are
my house,
listening.
Josh?
It might be.
Dude, or Joshua? Sorry. I'm gonna slip here and there.
That's okay.
Um, that is wild, dude. I kind of wanted to touch base on, I know we spoke on the phone, so I don't want to, but um, I think in essence, what you're doing really like hits home base with the whole, not to have to tie everything back to punk rock music, but it's sort of the theme. Um, what I think I love not the most about what you do, but I love the fact that you share. You'll tell people, right? Like as far as I remember from your website, you'll tell people how to do this themselves. You didn't come up with this cool thing. You're not guarding it. You're not keeping it for yourself. And that's such a cool thing to be able to just like to give people this knowledge and give people the means to fuck up and make their own mistakes and learn. I guess it's not a question, but it's a compliment. And I just think it's so fucking cool that you're doing this and it's not just this guarded thing for yourself. And that really is
Yeah.
it's a good spirit to have, man.
Yeah.
Um,
I appreciate that. I really do. And I think I was, influenced, like I said before, from that early scene, like the cassettes, like people stenciling stuff on the ground, and just this sort of attitude of like brashness, like I don't care. And there's times where I try that too, where I'll think of an idea and I'll be like, okay, like it's a little vanilla. Like how can we push it, a little bit beyond that? Like the license plates, like yeah, maybe a bunch of people could have come up with that. So I had to like match the screws, and I have this sort of hardcore competition with myself about, pushing myself further. Um, yeah, and I don't have a lot of rules.
You don't
There's
want
not
to
a
paint yourself into a corner, right?
there's not a lot of rules existing for what I do. Like the experiments that I do create the rules. If it doesn't work, then, like I'll change it. Um, and then sometimes, not everything has to look perfect. Like lately I've been into that more too. If something's a little off, or sometimes things can be mismatchy. Like I'm really inspired by the grandfather of all drum tinkering, which is R. David R. I mean, he really influenced me big time. And he just had this whole philosophy of like, use what you have. Use what you have. If you got it around, use it. If it doesn't match or it's a different color, like come up with something. Um, Another online personality is Mike Malone. Mike Malone is in Oshkosh, Wisconsin. If you're not familiar with Mike's work, he featured me in Off the Beaten Path, episode 2. And Mike is an incredible resource if you're not familiar with his online work. He's great. So I've learned a lot from him, and I'm constantly learning. That's for sure.
Yeah, I mean we spoke. I actually watched Mike's video maybe yesterday or the day before about like the nesting kit, and I learned a lot. So yeah, and it's great again that everyone's just putting this stuff out there and not trying to say, hey, if you want one of these, hit me up. I mean, I know that's what you do, but
Right.
yeah, Mike's great. I mean, that guy's got a ton of knowledge about, yeah, it's wild.
Right. I mean, I think sharing is just goes back to my teaching experience. Like I don't want to, I don't want to keep something a secret. I mean, what I'm doing isn't revolutionary. I think that's why people are connected to it and drawn to it, because it's like, oh, I could do that. Like he's using, enamel paint to paint the hardware. Like I could do that. Like I could wrap. I've had so many people come up to me saying like, yeah, I did my own map kit. And I'm like, let's see it. And
Awesome.
I just think that's great because, I think I probably had some inspirational burst in that guy's head, and he went home and he did it. So yeah, no gatekeeping, no sacred key. Tons of people contact me through my website or through Instagram, like, hey, I want to wrap a cowbell. How did you do yours? And it's wide open. It just becomes like it's a partnership, it's a collaboration. So like I'm happy to share and
I mean,
make
that's
more.
how you and I met
Right, that's
years
exactly.
ago. Like it's
Yeah, Christian I think he watched Mike Malone's video and then just sort of hit me up on Instagram, and we just started a friendship like that. So
yeah, and we did a little drum together, huh?
we do, yeah, and we'll by the magic of technology post that drum.
Oh, you two
See,
worked on a drum together?
Yeah.
yeah, yep, we did.
Well, I mean, Joshua worked on it. I just sent him a bunch of stuff I already had drawn.
Right,
So, well, I did do the Breslow mouth,
right.
right? So at least I did something.
Oh, nice. So that's your artwork, Christian.
Yes,
That's
sir.
Christian's artwork. Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it.
I would love to dive into that, Matt. What he's doing with these,
we'll talk
and
about that. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
yeah, that's
Yeah, no, Christian hit me up. And I immediately, liked, your personality. And you're a family man, and so am I. So I generally, respect men that can, change a diaper and wipe up drool or barf or shit or whatever. So
just hopefully not all those at the same time. That's see,
you've got a big family.
we've
I'm sure you've
we've
gotten it
been
all
there. Oh,
at the same
dude,
time.
we've been
All at
there.
the same time, for sure. For
I will
sure.
never forget if we can sidetrack a little bit. When our oldest was first born, I'm sure. I mean, all of you know, like it's that first kid is like it's maddening and you're tired. So we had her in one of those little pack and play things, but it had like that little elevated lift so you could change diapers in it, and there was mesh around the edges. Right, we keep all the diapers underneath it, and hopefully my wife won't kill me for telling the story. So um, think the kiddo had a little bit of a stomach bug or something like that. We were just going and going and going through diapers. So my wife kneeled down to get some diapers out of there and through the mesh, just right. And like, I'm like trying not to laugh. She was pretty angry. I don't know what felt compelled me to tell this story, but yes, yeah, we all I'm sure have had some sort of similar thing of like, maybe get a little bit on the hand, don't know it, and you wipe your brow and just it's like a little baby Gigi Allen, Anyways, enough about my shit stories. Let's get back to some drums.
Yeah, I've got
Yeah.
some too.
Yeah, that's punk right there, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess I was interested in Christian's art immediately, and we collaborated on a snare drum that I sold at the Chicago Drum Show
Wow.
back in May. So that was really cool. But yeah, he sent me some artwork, and I just kind of went around the inside of the drum and just try to look at it in almost as like a sleeve, fitting the pieces together and kind of blending it all in. It kind of reminded me of like a larger tattoo.
Yeah, I think what we should do next is I'll get some stencil paper because I don't want to use all the stuff at the tattoo shop. But I think it would be cool to print some actual stencils and send those to you and have you adhere those to like a white drum set and have that aged paper around the edges. But we can get into that idea later. That would be my custom snare drum. We'll have to do
That's
that.
that's the kind of idea that gets a thumbs up with me.
Well,
I have lots of ideas. So go ahead, Matt. Sorry.
I'm just interested. I'm sitting here looking at all these drums that you've done in the past, and some of them look extremely complicated, intricate. What was the hardest, or maybe not the hardest, but maybe the most intricate or time-consuming kit that you've worked on?
I knew it.
There it is.
I knew it.
So, are those? I can't tell exactly what those are. Bottle caps?
Bottle
Yes.
cap.
Bottle caps. And what made that one so hard?
Well, it's actually two bottle caps.
Uh-huh.
So one of them is full, and then the one underneath is flattened.
Okay.
So you could have it rattle around. When I just put it on there, it didn't really do anything. So I had to pound every single one flat underneath, and then there's a full one on top, and then I painted all of the screws to match.
Okay. So do those bottle caps make noise? Is that what you said?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
It's almost like each drum kind of sounds like a snare drum because they rattle.
I was wondering if that would be an
wild.
engineer's nightmare to record that snare.
Right, for sure. I wouldn't bring,
What's
this
that rattling?
yeah, what's all that shaking and rattling?
So,
yeah.
Joshua, unfortunately, our Zoom has a filter, so every time you shake it,
Oh,
we don't hear it.
I'm turning it on. I'm turning it on. Try it again.
Yeah, shake that drum.
Oh yeah, I don't know why it's not
We
working.
got a little.
Yeah,
That's so cool.
I turned
So-
it off.
This is a whole kit, and it's just a lot of repetition. But I actually find repetition to be really soothing for me. So
Therapeutic.
definitely, one of my main philosophies is busy hands.
Mm-hmm.
Stay busy.
Mm-hmm.
Well, because
I
I'm
know
looking
that
at
feeling.
this, kit that's full of rulers,
Yeah.
and that looks a lot more complicated to me, to the untrained eye. So I find it interesting that the bottle cap one was the hardest. But I guess it's the way you said you stacked the bottle caps to
Right.
where one is above the other, and then they move.
Right.
Yeah, that's
The
awesome.
ruler kit was also another COVID project, and I'm a middle school art teacher, so finding broken shit in your room is just like par for the course. Like middle schoolers are like puppies, like they
Right.
just things they break. Like, how can I break this ruler? So I was constantly collecting just broken rulers, and then COVID hit, and I just kind of came up with the idea of the whole thing. And again, no roadmap for that. So it was a lot of like trial and error. And the hardest part with that one and the drumstick one is to get the rulers to go right up to the top, but not be able to get caught on the head.
Oh, right, right.
I'd get it all done. I'd put the head on, I'd go to tension it, and then one ruler would just be, a quarter of an inch or an eighth of an inch up, and then it would get hung up on there. So I had to
Well,
go back in and
well,
file.
at least she always knew how much to take off.
Little
Tells you
ruler
right
humor for
there.
you there.
Yeah. My,
So,
my buddy Jared said it's the kit that rules the world.
Yeah, I'm sitting here looking at it. It looks awesome.
Yeah, that one that took a lot of time, but I had a lot of time then.
Yeah. Oh,
with
you
the
were
with the bottle cap kit, I'm curious. Did you pick the dimensions of like the actual size of the shells that you picked just to have? Like, did you test out multiple things, or did you kind of do a
I
layout?
didn't. It was a project early on. I probably do that now, but it started off as just we wanted to have like an alternative kick drum up on the front of the stage for the folk group kind of thing. So just to add a little like extra thump, and that's how I made, and that's when I made the bottle cap kit, or the bottle cap kick drum. And then I got so much feedback, it just kind of, went into being a whole kit.
yeah.
So,
Yeah.
what are the other the other drums that go with that kit consist of
Yeah,
size
it's
wise?
it's a 20, 10, 12, 16.
Okay, that's
I've got
A
it
crazy.
lot
pulled
of,
up right now. I'm looking at it. That's amazing.
and there's
Wow.
also an interesting like strip down the front,
That's
which I
what I was
use.
seeing. Yeah, dude, I guess those would probably rattle when you kick the
They,
pedal.
they,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, like I said, that's how I know I'm on to a good idea when there's very little to no examples of it around.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I can't imagine there being another bottle cap drum kit out there.
I say that I used to say that all the time, and then like 2 years ago, I went to the flea market, and this guy had like a pan drum,
Yeah.
had bottle caps all over it. So
Dude, I did a folky kind of thing for a little while with my brother, my uncle, and some other guys that we would play like pop hits, but we do it with like banjos and all that stuff. And I actually had a washboard during that, and I had no idea what I was doing. So I'd take those rubber palmed work gloves and I would super glue bottle caps to the fingers of them, and that's how I played it. And then people would be like, "How'd you think to do that?" And I'm like, "Well, I mean, people have been playing washboards as instruments. I'm pretty sure since washboards were made to wash clothes, but I had no reference of people playing with thimbles and spoons, and then I epoxied measuring cups around it. I had a little like a Zilbell on it and stuff like that. So it's cool how creative you can get when I intentionally didn't look into it. Like I didn't want to know the proper way to do it. I just wanted to trial and error. And that first washboard just disintegrated because I drilled so many holes in the frame around it. But that's it's a wall art now. I think we've moved on from that project.
Well, it's
It's
funny. I'm
done. But
looking at his website and I see a washboard.
there you go.
I
yeah,
see a drum kit with
mounted
a
on.
washboard that's wrapped in paper. Looks like.
Yeah. Yep. I wrapped the outside in paper. That was from my friend Dan.
Ooh, my favorite band, They Might Be Giants, is right on the kick drum.
Yeah. That was a friend of mine that came to me and wanted a small trap kit type setup, and he gave me all of his CDs. And he's like,
Oh,
you could
that's all. Okay.
they're all his real CDs. Those were like the jackets.
Yes.
Oh,
So he gave,
that's cool.
gave me like it seemed like 50 or 60 of them. And then I actually picked out the ones that I kind of liked, and then I just wrapped them around the drum and on the.
Well, being from New York City, I guess They Might Be Giants is just kind of a given
Yeah,
that you're gonna like them.
definitely. Yeah, no, definitely.
That's
Yeah, yep.
amazing. Wow, what a great idea. So that was his idea, and you brought it to life.
Yeah, he kind of just came to me. I had the drums. He kind of told me he wanted like a washboard up mounted on it, and then
Mhm.
wanted like concert tom drums. Like it didn't want them to be really loud and
Right.
just punchy. So I cut the drums, and yeah, I just kind of did what instinctually came to my mind.
Amazing. Well,
Have you
and
had any go ahead, Matt.
no, no. Well, I was also curious. So you cut drums. You cut them shallower, right? So you would have some knowledge on the right angles and how to see. I don't know about that, so I don't know the terminology, but I know that there are certain ways to cut the edges to where they actually sound good because you can really mess that up, right?
Definitely. Yes, that was also a lot of trial and error, cutting the bearing edge.
That's what it is, bearing edge.
Yeah, I had a router table. In the beginning, I just did it by hand just to like get a feel for it because I was intimidated to use the router to just like, it's
Yeah,
just jumping into it. There's no like, and even though I always do tests, I always
mhm,
practice stuff first because I don't
sure.
want to ruin. But it did take probably a year or two to get confident enough to use the router. I watched a bunch of videos. Mike Malone has a good one on bearing edges, and then you just kind of learn by doing and snare beds, cutting the snare beds also. A lot of different philosophies on how to do it. I do it with like a rasp or a file, and but yeah, different depths. Yeah, I cut drums. I cut drums for people. I cut drums for myself quite a bit.
Yeah.
Kick drums.
Well, and I was wondering, like, is there a kind of like a set angle that works the best, or does it depend on the depth of the drum? Does it change?
Yeah, it does. It does depend on the depth. It also depends, at least I always ask if it's for somebody else, like, what's their intention with this instrument,
Hmm.
like what style, and that'll kind of dictate the bearing edge a little bit too.
Okay.
But usually it's a 45 or like a round over. I don't do anything fancy. I think I only have about, two or three different types of bearing edges that I feel confident doing.
Sure.
So for people that don't know, the difference of the sounds and the bearing edge is how much of the head is making contact with that surface. I'm pretty sure like a round over is going to give you more contact, which will give you a little bit more of like a thump, like a warm sound, right? And the angles you'll get more sustain, or is it the
Right.
other way around?
No, no, that's accurate.
Okay, okay. Yeah, wow, that's wild.
Yeah,
Um,
I didn't know that. I didn't understand the mechanics of that. So yeah, that's cool to
Yeah,
think about.
a really big part of drumming because that's where the head is going to sit.
Yeah,
That's the contact between the head, and the drum. So
that makes total sense. Yeah.
yeah, if you have a drum and you're at home and it sounds like shit, you could try to just like take it off, resand the bearing edge, just to learn.
Yeah.
That's how I saw.
well, you and I were talking about that before. It's yeah. I mean, obviously, a nice drum's going to sound nice. It's to a degree, right? But a lot of it's tuning. And I really do think that you can take a junky basswood kit and do the bearing edges and put good heads on it. And once you record and you put all the other stuff in with it, and is it going to make a huge difference of what kind of wood it is and what kind of brand? I really don't think. I mean, when we were talking to Nick Brannigan from Bane, I asked like that ride cymbal on that sounds so good. What was it? And it was a fucking Sabian B8, and it just cut through the mix the right way, you know. So I think limiting ourselves to the nicer stuff is kind of damning in some cases, you know. Get some cool
Yeah,
sounds
I
otherwise.
try, especially if it's work for a client, 100% fresh heads, and that even if the kit might have been salvaged or cut, I always put new heads on them.
Good
Hmm.
man. That's good. Yeah, that's a big part of it too, is just finding the right heads for the right tones. And absolutely, that's cool. So
Yeah.
did anything ever start and then not work out? Did you have like a project that you just kind of
I've
abandoned?
I've had a few. I wrapped a kit in records, and I had to use some heat to bend the record, and I didn't abandon it. I did it, but it was really challenging, and I still need to make one more drum, and I haven't. So that I don't know if I'm going to go back to that one anytime soon. I have a few drums just right here that I
Oh, I
could
would
show.
love to see him.
Yeah.
This is just a concert tom, and
Oh, Egyptian.
I really try to go with like a piece of pottery or like an Aztec drum or um, something of that nature.
Oh, it looked Egyptian from far
Yeah,
away.
definitely has that feel for it. Yeah, Egyptian for sure. This is about 3 years old, and this is when I first started to paint the hardware. So
I was
this is
just about to ask what did you put out that looks so good?
It's well, I use just like the adhesives and all that other stuff. I have a variety of paints, enamels, car paints, oil paints, acrylic paints. I think these were enamels that I painted, but I did the this kind of led me into doing basically all the hardware. And once I opened that door, it just sort of like it just took off. Here's a piece of my tarot card kit.
That's killer.
Wow.
And
Man, the hoops on that look great.
when I really just perfected, at least in my mind, the hardware, the painting of the hardware.
I
So, and
would
I
say
could do
so.
this for people too. So if you want to send me your hardware to strip your drum, I could paint it two-tone, any colors really.
I really like that kind of distressed look on some of them, or maybe the kind of rustic
Right.
look. If it's coming across on video, like I'm seeing
Oh
it.
no, that's 100% what I'm going for.
Yeah, I love that. That's so
Here's
unique.
here's just like a little piece.
Oh yeah.
So I have a whole bunch of samples if anyone out there is interested, like with two-tone or three-tone. And this is great, like also if the hoop is a little beat up or rust a little bit or
Mm.
pitting, and it's like, oh, it doesn't look that great. This is a really great way to do it. Piece here is just a kick drum leg. So I'll take the whole thing apart and sometimes I'll mix the distressing just on the bass there on the part that goes connects with the drum. And
Wow, that's awesome.
so
So
I can do this.
is that paint? The black, is that paint?
It's enamel.
Enamel. Okay.
Yeah, it's a paint, but it's like a very
Like
strong,
hard. Yeah, like your teeth.
for sure, for sure. Um, Another one over here that's fun. I don't know if this is on my website, but this is a burlap kit.
Oh
That's
my
awesome.
gosh, that's amazing.
Oh, you even got it in the dude. That's
Wow.
wild. That's killer.
I'm using rope, paint, and I collected these bags for like 3 years.
Man, if that thing was sitting in a feed store, you'd never see it.
Right? I was in Nashville at the Nashville Drum Co, and I cannot believe that nobody bought this drum because it just screamed Nashville to me.
Is that
Can
the
you tell which
only
one of us is from Texas?
Is that the only drum?
No, no, it's a whole kit.
Oh, the whole kit. Okay, okay.
Yeah,
Wow,
this is
that's
just like the top.
amazing.
So how does
This
the
is
burlap affect the tone, Josh? I'm just kidding.
kind of so it kind of it's a warm, kind of earthy kind of sound. It definitely it doesn't really dry it. I think it just sort of adds its own muffling.
Mm.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Let's see. I think one more over here. Two more. This is an example that I show clients or friends or people with like all my tricks. So I have the painted hardware, different colors. The bottom is blue,
Wow.
the top is yellow, and then I wrap the outside of the hoops on the top and the bottom.
What style of art is that called?
It's top.
Pop art?
And then here's the inside. That's you can see, but I
Oh,
also wrapped the
wow.
inside and painted all the hardware
I
on the
bet that's
inside.
tough to do the inside.
It is. It's harder to do the inside than the outside for
Yeah,
sure.
certainly limited with space there.
Yeah, it's tight.
And then someone buys it and puts a coated Evans head on it, and you're like, "What the
Oh no.
fuck?"
Yeah, I like doing the inside. It's just like a little extra treat, you know.
Yeah,
Yeah, I love that.
that's one.
I got one more behind me.
Yeah, let's see them all. Oh,
So
another
these,
ruler one.
yeah,
Measuring tape. It's
Oh,
all
cool.
measuring
measuring
tape.
tape.
All
Yeah.
steel, they're all that plasticky type,
Yeah.
No, I think all of us have enough broken ones of those around.
right?
Right?
I'll
So
just
are your
That's
your
amazing.
label on there, is that a sticker or is that
It is a sticker. I'm working on a badge.
no, it looks great.
They're expensive, man.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. Yeah. Well, we might have someone we can put you in contact with for
Okay,
that
yeah.
if you'd like. That's killer. Yeah, I saw someone on one of the many Facebook groups. I think it was like a Ludwig collectors, and someone had painted like a robin egg blue over like a gold glitter. And the guy was like, "Hey, I'm trying to get this paint off," and he's like, "I scraped some of it, and I just want to be like leave it like that. Like it looks so cool with like the robin egg, and then there's some like white primer, and then that gold glitter coming through, and like all those old like Duco, Ludwig, and Slingerlands where the wood's kind of separating and fractured. Like I love the way that stuff looks.
Yeah, I do
It's
too.
so cool. I don't, I only have one kit right now. Unfortunately, don't have a ton of room for a lot of extras. So it's hard for me to like commit to like stripping my main kit down. And I really want to do something with it. It's just a black Ludwig. I want to give it a little character, but I don't know what a good place to start is. Now you've inspired me. Maybe I'll take some hoops off and put some
Yeah.
electrical tape around there, get some sort of accent of color in it. But
Yeah,
that's
there you
wild.
go, man. Your idea was born.
There it is. Well, again, that's what's so great is just being able. I mean, I think I've already learned a lot today alone from that. So should we jump on the shakers there?
Yeah, sure. Um, so these are aerosol can shakers.
Wow.
I do a lot with spray paints
Yeah.
and spray varnishes and spray adhesives. So probably about 2 years ago, instead of throwing them out,
I'll just
I just
insert a fake shaking sound.
yeah.
Yeah, so Joshua, unfortunately, if you wanted us to hear that, you have to go into your menu and
Yeah.
turn off like a certain filter on Zoom, which stinks like it.
Yeah,
So
Just imagine what it sounds like. It sounds incredible. Yeah, each one is different. Sometimes as I'm making a kit, I'll make a few of these with the paper or whatever I'm using, just as like
was that
extra.
Clifford?
Right.
Oh, it looked like Clifford. I just saw the back end of it.
my mind went immediately to that old Martin Short movie. I was like, "What are you seeing that?" Does anyone remember that? Am I that old?
Which
I
one?
do.
Clifford, where Martin Short plays a kid.
Oh yes, yes, I remember that.
Yeah. Anyways,
I just saw the back end of it. It looked like a big red dog.
yeah,
That maybe I'll.
that's
Well, can you
wild.
tell I have a young kid?
Yes, I
That's
do.
killer.
Mine is in the child's world.
So
Oh, I love it.
what
That's amazing.
what inspired the shakers just to not waste anything, just to keep
Yeah,
reusing?
I am a hardcore recycler, and with those spray cans, and they're not just spray paint. Some of them come from my wife too, where it's hairspray or all kind of aerosol cans. I mean, I couldn't put things away fast enough. I was done with them, and then I looked in the garbage one day and see 5 of them, and I'm gotta be something that we. So I'm a mad recycler. I love recycling all kinds of stuff. I love collecting, and I love restoration. With every one of the drum sets or snares, they're rarely ever. So there's just a level of restoration and cleaning that has to happen first. I wish I could say I started with a brand new shell, but oh, using what I got.
Yeah.
Great. Um, is anyone else hearing an echo?
Yeah, I do hear it.
Where is that coming from? Huh. Is it still there?
Yep.
Are you hearing it, Matt?
Hey, is that better? I think I had the
Uh,
noise suppression off.
oh, okay. Yeah, it's gone. Okay.
I was trying to hear the shaker.
Oh,
Oh no, I think I just
I
yeah, the
forgot to
audio
turn it
got
off.
a little wonky there.
That's
No,
my
it's all good,
fault.
man.
That's my fault.
No. So if you don't mind, well, I don't know why you'd mind me asking, but for anyone out there who's I guess more watching than listening, Joshua, do you have is there a safety measure? I would hate to have anyone try to drill a hole in their own aerosol can and have it blow up. So what do you do to make sure it's safe to
Yeah,
drill and fill first?
yeah. I'm not like I'm kind of like I don't want to get hurt. So I try to tend to think about these things, and I can usually spot the danger in something by this stage of my creation. So yeah, like popping a hole in a spray can. The first time I ever did is like, what's gonna happen? But in the end, there's only one true way to find out what's going to happen. Take a nail and a hammer and smash it, and then when the um, all the paint flies at your face, then you know that you have to make a little hole and let all of the paint and all the stuff out of it first.
Well, that's where a pellet gun is good, you know?
Yeah,
Put it at a distance, shoot it.
Once again, can you tell who's from Texas?
right.
That's doesn't be a new segment for the show.
I know, right?
And then us from New York, when you hear the shot, you duck. It's pretty.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's just normal here.
Right.
But yeah,
Oh, it's
so
wild.
shakers, and I see a beater. You make
Yep.
kick drum beaters
Yep. I do some beaters, some weird ones.
and some.
That's
Well, hey, speaking of that, I'm looking at shotgun shells, shaker
Yeah,
type instrument here.
I did. I have enough. There's anybody out there, I have enough of those shells to do a kit. So kind of waiting
Wow.
for the right guy.
I
Yeah,
wonder how heavy that would be because it's got a little bit of metal or well, I don't know, brass maybe.
those things are plastic with just like a, I don't know what the metal is on the bottom
I
end, but
think
they're
it's
pretty light.
brass.
Brass. Yeah,
Yeah.
that sounds right. Yeah, I got a lot of them. I got a whole lot of them.
Yeah. And what is the grenade that I see? Is that a shaker?
Shaker. Yeah,
Okay.
I've
Okay.
made a few since then. I have like some other like big cannon rockets and other like grenades and
Could you imagine flying with that?
right, right.
Dude, I have an old an vintage gas mask. Maybe I'll send it to you and have put beads in it. We can mic my face while I play drums. I can just
There you
shake my.
go.
Dude, that's so cool. This is like literally nothing off limits.
Yeah.
That's so rad. You could literally do anything. Would you mind kind of touching base on just like a little bit of experience you've had with just so maybe if there's someone listening or watching that might want to try something like what is just a good place to start as far as like adhesives and stuff goes for most, your
Yeah,
average paper.
sure. I would probably start with like 3M, just a basic spray adhesive that you could get from, Menards, Lowe's, Home Depot type. And I would just, pick up a cheap drum or a piece of wood. It doesn't have to be a drum. I have like a huge um, piece of plywood that I just, write the date and then I do the little experiment right on there to see what's going to happen. But I would just try it, try it on some wood, try it on an old 2x4, and, do one step at a time, make some little notes to see, hey, like this worked or this made the paper run or it crimpled up or, so I usually try to put a few little notes next to the example to remind myself of what worked and what didn't work. But I mean, if you have a hobby, and you want to do it yourself, I would get a drum, try to find, go to a rummage sale, buy a little kids drum set. I think that's one of the first ones that I tried was like a little kids one for like $25 at a rummage sale. And just start with a basic adhesive and, maybe just a basic water-based varnish. And I think you're in business.
No Mod Podge, that stuff stinks.
It does stink, and I've had trouble with Mod Podge. I use a lot of that in the beginning, and it gets activated if it gets wet,
Jeez.
like reactivates. So I don't use that
I
anymore.
was searching for that word in my head earlier and I couldn't think of it.
Mod Podge. Oh yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It's
We're a
it,
crafty an arts and craft family, so
it's funny. This has reminded me, my cousin Tanner, he's incredibly talented painter, pinstriper. He fabricates things. Um, he does basses now. He paints bass guitars. He's going in business with Little Joe from Lagwagon. They're starting a bass custom bass business. But 20 years ago, he took my Yamaha kit. We took everything off, sanded it down, and he painted it like a orange sparkle. And so this was, kind of new 20 years ago to doing all this. And I remember after maybe a week or two, it started just cracking everywhere. Like the paint, it was like it was rejecting the paint.
Right.
But yeah, I think he learned from that for sure. And it ended up not being too bad, but it was definitely noticeable. And I don't know what the mechanism was that made that happen. But have you experienced stuff like that before? You've done a drum and then all of a sudden it's like it's not happy with whatever you did.
Yeah, I have. I also do a lot with priming. I don't think I really
Uh-huh.
mentioned that, but a good primer, especially if you're gonna, I mean, like with the license plate kit, I prime the whole thing first,
Hmm.
the inside and the outside, and I think that kind of gives it a little grit
Yeah.
to paper or whatever else is gonna come. But yeah, I've definitely made my fair share of mistakes. I try as much as possible every time I do a show with my band. It's always a great opportunity, to play, but I bring a kit that I haven't played and kind of run it through,
Mm.
what a 3 or 4 hour show is. Um, and my band is the Logan Avenue Alley Band. And it's great. Like we play a lot of different types of venues. So, I could just try a kit. Had it, I just played the Stamp kit recently. Um, and I never played it. So I brought it out and we did like a 4 hour show. And I feel like everything, the vibrations, nothing came apart. Everything was good. So I'll just kind of make a mental note. But I've had some things fall apart, especially in the beginning when I didn't, take like account that I want this to look incredible and sound incredible.
Hmm.
I make instruments of art, not sculptures.
Right.
So
Yeah.
you could say after a 4 hour gig that that one got your stamp of approval.
Yeah, yeah. I dragged it into this place. I played out for 4 hours. It sat out. We did our thing. You know, um, and it just gives it a little soul. Just to it's not just fresh out of the shop. Like I think it's got like a test drive.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
wild. I gotta, you know what? Facebook Marketplace is another place. It's just littered with like cheap kids drums. Maybe I'll just bite the bullet and give it a try.
Yeah. I think that's a great point that we could talk about just for a little bit, Christian, is where I get this stuff. Definitely, I have a killer music go round, Greenfield music go round in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. That place is incredible. I'd say half the drums and pieces and parts I get is from there. They have a whole like used drum mismatchy section. So if I need to match something or a lug, for like I can go get a drum for like $15 from that place. And those guys are incredibly cool. Um, a lot of it comes from there, and I check their website so I can see. Facebook Marketplace also brings in a lot of stuff. Um, I don't really buy things off of Reverb unless it's for my own personal like
Mm.
stuff, because
Right.
that's expensive. And people give me things. It is incredible what people give to me. I'd say I've been given at least 15 drum sets from people that are moving, you know, their kid doesn't play it anymore. My neighbor down the street, Steve, he comes up with stuff. Friends, everybody knows I collect, and pieces and parts and drums are just constantly being sent my way.
That's so great. Have you ever got like something that someone brought to you that was like some crazy vintage, like really valuable, or is it mostly just
Yeah, I mean, I've gotten a few Ludwigs. I've got some old stuff. I've gotten some made in Japan stuff that people just, don't want, or, the basement dweller kit that is actually a nice sonar, but it just looks like shit because it hasn't been cleaned in 25 years.
I
So,
love those. I love sonars. I wish I could afford
yeah, for sure.
a good one.
Are a
They're
lot of
out there.
these kits, are they kind of like Frankenstein kits, like different brands? Maybe you get a really good sounding, floor tom from this brand, and then maybe, like a good rack tom from another, and then you just make them kind of look the same. Does that happen
Okay,
quite often?
yeah, occasionally. I try to keep them together.
Hmm.
Um, I try not to use, three different drums within one drum set. But yeah,
Yeah.
sometimes, you know, um, you got to use what you have, and sometimes they can get a little mismatchy. But I try to just use midline like Pearl, Mapex. I try to use a good like middle of the line drum set. I don't want something super cheap. That's just
Right.
gonna crumble, but I don't want to cover some beautiful wood either.
Yeah,
Well, as you were saying before, when we were discussing the possibility of like that nesting kit is, I mean, this would probably be useful knowledge for people too, is you don't want to start cutting thinner shells because you want to take over why.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of like MIJ stuff or really cheap kits will just sort of, blow apart.
mm,
Uh, so yeah, if you're going to cut something, I definitely recommend cutting something that has um, quite a few plies to it and a good blade. And I usually put a painter's tape around both the inside and the outside of the drum, and that seems to help quite a bit.
I can imagine you're probably pretty good at taking a really bad sounding cheap drum and probably making it sound decent, right?
I mean, yeah, I think I'm pretty good at tuning.
Hmm.
I tune all these kits that I have. I probably have around 25 kits at my house, some that are for sale, and then some that are just my own. So I'm constantly tuning drums, and I just do it by ear. Um, and yeah, like with experience, you just get better at it.
For sure. Yeah, that's awesome. Do you ever use the sleeved washers?
I do. I just recently
Yeah.
bought some. I just
Nice.
recently, and because they come in color too, so that's right up my house.
Yes.
Uh, but
I just
yes,
put my
actually,
blue ones on.
um, on this drum, I have the orange one,
Nice.
Nice.
and a white one.
Yeah, that's our buddy. That's Rhino.
That's awesome. Yeah, I love those things.
Yeah.
One of these days we'll give him a sponsor.
We always give him shout outs anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a
Well,
great product.
He gets free advertising because he's so cool.
oh, cool,
So,
man. I
what?
mean, we're rolling up on a little over an hour, Matt. I know you have an appointment, correct?
Not
From what I
anymore.
remember.
Yeah, not
Oh,
anymore.
no.
I was
So we
wondering
got
what.
started early for nothing?
Well,
Thanks a lot.
yeah,
Wow.
yeah, it changed right before we got on. What are you currently working on? Like, what's like the newest commission you got
Yeah.
going on?
I'm working on the license plate one right
Okay,
now.
that's the newest one. Okay,
That's like, yeah, I just need to do the floor tom.
okay,
Um, People that follow me on Instagram might have saw that I took a sign, a street sign. It said one way right or something like, oh, keep right.
uh-huh.
And actually cut the sign perfectly and inserted that on the head of the kick drum,
It's
which
crazy.
was really challenging. And I didn't have a lot of opportunity to practice because I just had one sign.
Yeah,
Um, but it
No
came
pressure.
out. I'll post some of that today and try to get that on my website.
yeah.
I'm already, I kind of have this quote that helps me. At the end of every project comes the idea for the next project.
Mm,
And that's what helps me to like push through it and not just leave like, oh, I'll fix that later. Or, oh, this thing has a little crack in it, but I'll fix it later. I'll deal with it later. I try to just address the whole thing until it's complete. And then the next idea starts sort of creeping in, either commission work or my
mm.
own work. And that kind of fuels me to finish it up correctly and then start the next thing.
I love that. Yeah.
Next thing for um it's for me unless somebody wants to buy it as baseball cards. So I've collected for a while my
Uh,
own and then some other people's and I have a few full sheets that have not been cut.
hmm. Are
So
these
it's actually
like vintage cards or just kind of
oh
just
yeah, I mean
mishmash?
I guess it's vintage. It makes me feel old, but yeah, I mean no, 90s. I think the majority of them are like 88 to like 96 or 7. So I guess that's vintage, but
Yeah, I remember it being really popular because I'm 45, and so the 90s would
yeah,
have been like the time I was collecting baseball cards and football cards
yeah.
at that
Did you
time.
look through them first to make sure you weren't chopping any real valuable ones?
I took the good ones out. Like I'm a Yankee fan, so I took all the Yankees out. The cards that interest me the most are the teams that don't exist anymore, like
Oh,
the Montreal
like the
Expos,
Expos.
and like the Nationals.
Houston
Like
Oilers.
right, yeah, Houston Oilers. I think the Nationals weren't they Cleveland first, and then
Yes,
uh,
I believe so.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for Cleveland first, and then Cleveland has a new mascot and a new logo, so I like those cards the best. And I haven't thought of that's the basic ideas, the baseball cards, but I know somewhere in my mind there's another like piece, like could I take a piece of the glove or the bat or
Mm.
some other, like that's where I sort of get competitive with my own creativity because I don't compete against anybody, any company. I compete against myself to be creative. So it's like, what can I do? Can I take a baseball apart? Can I, and I'll just sort of force myself.
Yeah, that's when you
That'd
go
be
eat
cool
out
to.
at one of those sports bars that's got
Yeah,
memorabilia everywhere, and then you get ideas.
What you gotta find is go in eBay or something like that and try to find those old friendlies, like the ice cream dishes that they used to serve in
right.
the little batting helmets, and like you
Oh
could put those around a
yeah.
drum or something like that. Yeah, it's really that's what's great, man. Is just endless.
Oh, for
Yeah,
sure.
it's fun. I look at every part of the drum as like a creative opportunity, the hoops, the inside, the hardware. Um, I just think I look at it differently. And I'm not the only one. I mean, there's companies out there that are incredible and that, paved the way for me, like SJC. I mean,
Mhm.
SJC is incredible craftsmanship in the ideas and the way they make it work. I mean, they created the lane that I'm in right now. Pork pie, same thing. They open that up for people like me. So I'm incredibly inspired by those two companies and the way that they like carry themselves, especially SJC. Be part of the SJC family. I mean, that's who doesn't want to be part of another family?
I mean, they have sponsored our podcast. They are a
Oh,
sponsor, yeah, and they support
wow.
us, and we love SJC.
Yeah, super creative. And like I said, they made that lane, and I'm in the intersection of that lane, um, and I'm parked right in between art and instrument, and I'm gonna stay right there.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, I'm enjoying looking at all your stuff online. What tell everyone your website.
Sure. Yeah, if you're interested in looking at my website, it's breslowdrumcompany.com. And then my Instagram is also Breslow Drum Co. So you can check that out. You can contact me through the website. Um, got a ton of stuff for sale. Shakers are for sale. Probably Instagram is one of the better ways to contact me. So yeah, you can find me on Instagram and my website.
I'll
Amazing.
have to
I
send you
like,
some of our stickers and see if we can make some podcast shakers.
oh yeah, for
Right.
sure.
Oh, hey, we're getting Bill from Pork Pie on here soon too.
Oh, great, great.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
look
that'll
forward.
be a cool episode. Yeah, it's cool getting drum makers on here. It's a nice kind of, usually it's just, what do you play and where, it's just drums playing. It's not building, which
Right.
is really cool angle
Yeah,
to get into.
Absolutely,
These are
man. This is
great
cool.
kits, man. Yeah,
thank you.
just I'm just looking through here and I'm just amazed by the creativity of it all. I just never would have thought of it. So the next drum kit, you need to make a sleeved washers drum kit.
Just cover
I
the
need,
whole kit. Got me maddening.
yeah, I love those things. Yeah.
Oh,
Also, just a quick shout out to some of the people that organize the drum shows that I do. So, Drugans has organized the Chicago Drum Show, I think, the last 2 years. I've been exhibiting there for 4 years. Those guys are incredibly organized and friendly. Since they've taken it over, the show has just thrived. And then I've done the Nashville Drum Show twice, and that whole like Nashville community is so nice. They had Jay Weinberg there doing demos as an exhibiting artist, and he's walking around talking to people. I've done the St. Louis Drum Show, so if you live in Nashville or Chicago or anything like that, and you want a kit and we could meet up at the show and do that. The show is also a great opportunity for me to see other products and try to collaborate. So there's a few companies out there that I am collaborating with right now, actually. So that's something new and something great. But the shows are pretty incredible because it's just all drummers, you know,
Hmm.
it's everyone gets it and everybody knows what you're talking about. So
Yeah. Are you going to Nam?
I have not done NAM yet,
Okay. I
but
want to go this year. I think it's in January.
I would love to go first. I went to the Chicago Drum Show for like 3 or 4 years before I
Hmm.
ever had a. So yeah, I've also now doing this full time. So I left my teaching position last year, as a middle school art teacher, and I am doing Breslow Drum Company full time now. So
It's amazing.
you know,
Congratulations.
if you're
Yeah.
out there, when you're interested, you have an idea, you want knowledge or collaboration, I'm definitely out here. And then I'm also in the future is some gallery shows.
Yeah. That's awesome. It's cool. Times are tough, and a lot of people they have to have a second job, and looks like you're doing really well.
Well, thank God I have a lot of support from
Hmm.
my wife, and who's, allowing me and encouraging me to do what I'm good at and what I want to do. And that's this. I mean, as soon as I'm done with you guys, the license plate drum is going right back in the shop, and I'm going to go right out there and work on it. My workshop is probably maybe 300 feet from my house. So
That's killer.
That's amazing.
Awesome, dude. Well,
Yeah.
we usually, Matt, I don't know if you had any other questions, but
No, I'm good. I'm good.
yeah,
yeah,
we usually roll out the episodes with a segment called "Questions for My Kids"
okay.
or our kids. I don't know if I know Matt's daughter's not feeling
Yeah,
too
my
well, so
daughter got kicked in the head with a soccer ball yesterday, and we spent the majority of the night in the ER
Ooh,
with a concussion. So
got concussions or
she's yeah, she got a concussion. She's sleeping it off right now. So
an iron?
um she's tough.
well, good thing Matt's wife is home today. So
Yeah, she's a high
yeah,
school teacher and she stayed home today. So
we actually had Matt and I had a conversation this morning, and I'm like, I know Joshua well enough to know that like if you need to take care of a kid, if you have to reschedule,
yeah,
he's not going to be upset. So
no, she's
I'm
sleeping. The
luckily
doctor
it's so
said rest, rest, rest. So let her head heal. So she's okay. I
now we
checked
hit
on her to
soccer
make sure
balls.
she was still breathing, and then I came out here. So all
Put a
is
little
good.
Matt has a
Yeah, so
little
go ahead.
streamer that he put on his finger and put under her nose, and so we know she's safe. But so okay, so sometimes with these, I'll have my kids write questions down, and I don't see them ahead of time, so there's probably going to be some pee pee poo poo stuff going on here. But we'll
But I
see.
haven't seen before, man. I've been living in middle school
Oh
for
God.
Oh, yeah, nothing phases you.
Okay, so all right. Um, my one kid is upset on it. It's been the past couple of things. Have you made a unicorn drum set yet?
I have not made a unicorn drum set, but the second you said it, I started to get these little flashes of like the horn coming out of the kick drum and
Hmm.
like how it could be. So
Kids
it's
have
not
probably
something
got to be
I
the
make,
best at
right. It's not
ideas.
something I make for myself, but hey man, I'd make that for a kid or somebody else for sure. No, I've never made a unicorn drum set, but I'll
Okay,
put it on the list towards the back.
sweet.
Not off the
Um,
table.
we can cut this out. But how how long does it take you to do the mustache every day?
Oh yeah, mustache question, great. I'd say about 5 minutes or so.
Is that something you've dwindled down over time?
Yeah, it's better. I like styling it. It's better than having it on my mouth. So yeah, a little product, swirl, and
You're
away we
good to
go.
go. Awesome. All right. Well, that pretty much that covers it for the day, dude. Thank you so much for your time. This has been great. It's been nice now that the kids are back in school on my end and you're retired. It's been great that we've been able to chat here and there a little bit more and keep in touch. And I'd really love to do something again in the future. So maybe we can connect. And it would be really cool if we could do some sort of collaboration with the podcast and some artwork and do like a drum or some shakers or something like that. Maybe we can. It'd be cool. Maybe we can get some shakers together, raffle them off, and maybe we can all pick a charity to donate the profits to, or
Yep.
something like that. So yeah, we'll be in touch in the future. Joshua Breslow, thank you so much, man. It's been a pleasure. Appreciate your time.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you guys. I appreciate the time. Your insight has just been a great morning. So thanks, guys.
And again, thank you for keeping it real and sharing your knowledge with everybody. And maybe in the future we can have you come back on for a round 2. We got some more stuff, or we could do like a walkthrough. It'd be kind of cool. We can show everyone. Awesome.
All right. Thanks again, guys, for the opportunity. I appreciate talking to you.
Thank you.
Man. Have a good day.
You too.
Bye.